Look at the start of this day. Ugh. You know, this is Tok, Alaska. Stopping at a bed and breakfast. This is a really nice bed and breakfast. It's really quiet. You got a nice little garden working. Apparently the garden works, they grow like weeds because it's daylight most of the time. It was 3 a.m. and it was still sunlight out, so it doesn't really get dark anymore. But oh yeah, this is just a great place to start and recharge. This is so peaceful, so quiet. I didn't see anything other than like some squirrels and birds. But okay, this is where I start my day. It's Alaska. We're leaving Tok. I would show Tok. I might have some footage of it here somewhere, maybe because I have to pass through leaving the state. But Tok itself is really like 2 blocks. They don't have a whole lot there, and it's just amazingly kind of going through Tok. It's such a small town, but there's so much going on. I met a couple other bikers here who had just ridden in from Fairbanks, Alaska. For those who don't know, Alaska's kind of set up as kind of just one big circle. So you can go, once you get in, you can go to Tok, where basically it branches. You can go south to Anchorage, and then all the way to Denali, which is kind of the most place western you can go on legitimate asphalt roads. And then you can come up to Fairbanks and then back to Tok. It's just one big circle. For people wanting to go further west, there are roads to try and get to Nome, but it's not easy. And there's a reason why the Iditarod is a difficult journey, and probably the hardest sport there actually is. I actually would visit the Iditarod headquarters, but that's later. But you can just look and see the beauty of Alaska. I cut this up because I'm headed to Anchorage, and mainly because of weather. Because the weather at Denali and Fairbanks was so-so, and I wanted to make sure when I was there I had the best weather, so I decided to go south to Anchorage to spend a little time, rather than going around Fairbanks, which was raining and whatnot. So off to Anchorage. This is actually cut up into 2 parts because of it, because there's just so much to see, and one of them is coming up right here. How's this for a start of the day? Now I'm looking. Looks like there's something in that pond up there. I think it's a log. Or it could be an animal. I'll have to look at the footage. Been learning a lot about these people. Like the people who live up here, kind of the conditions. They say like when they like you're so far north that people say, well, it's night for a lot of times. Well, technically, yes. Like the sun is below the horizon, but it's close enough that it still gives them light most of the day. Because no one would live here if it was like dark for 20 hours of the day. Whew! Breathe that fresh air. Yep, that's definitely a moose enjoying a morning bath. Big one too. Maybe I can really zoom and enhance this. That's a moosey. Yep, I got some binoculars on the thing, and that is definitely a moose. I don't know. I don't think all the males have horns. Like, I think only the real adult bucks. But it's a big one. It's probably a big female. Just out there bathing. So big I thought it was a log. That is probably 2 football fields away, maybe 3. It's a distance. I'm obviously not going in that direction. Yep, that was a moose. It was a big moose. You don't really see it. I didn't have my best camera here, which has a zoom on it, and well, I wish I could have brought it, but again, I was on the road for so long that space is at a premium, and bringing a kind of a little bulky camera with a zoom lens, so I had to get by with just my GoPro here and my phone. So, but it was a moose. I thought it was a log until it started moving. They could definitely hear me, because every time I would talk or whatnot, it would like freeze and like look at me, and then if I was still for a long time, it would then start moving around a lot. From what I would learn about moose is that what the moose is actually doing, it's not bathing. It's actually getting nutrients. There's minerals that congregate in these ponds that the moose likes. So the moose goes in there and drinks some of the water and scoops some of the, I guess, like brush that just grows in there to get some of the nutrients it needs. The moose actually at this point were, I guess they call it molting. They were losing like their fur because the winter had just ended and they're shedding off. So a lot of them that I saw looked really, really ratty. But that's of course because of they're molting at the time. I still don't know whether or not that was a male or a female because it didn't have big antlers, but I'm not sure if the big antlers, I'm not sure if their antlers don't fall off. I just don't know a whole lot about these things. I'll say this, it's hard not to stop every chance you got. Whew. Look at all that. Truly one of the great rides. I think one of the secrets of really enjoying yourself in Alaska is probably to ride in the morning. I mean, the days are really long here, so I think a lot of people think like, oh, I could just sleep in. So if you get up like early and you set out, the locals are up, but all the vacationers are still sleeping in. They'll sleep in till like 10, 11. You get it all to yourself. So here is a portrait to Allen's incredible journey. This is to Henry T. Allen, led one of the most epic journeys in 1885. He explored a lot of this. He came up from Nantucket, went up through here, including this valley. That is St. Elias Mountain, I believe. It could be that one or whatnot. The park is, I think, St. Elias National Park. Just look at that view. Absolutely gorgeous. But in effect, this is the beauty of Alaska. One of the interesting things about Alaska that you learn is that originally it was obviously settled along the coast by the colonists. After we bought it from Stewart's Folly, bought it from Russia for $5 million. But the interior was really hard to get into because of the circular mountains. So a lot of people were constantly trying to find ways to get into the interior because they thought, of course, there was a lot of gold to be found. And there was some, and there's still plenty of gold in Alaska. It's just, it's a lot of hunting around to try and find exactly where it is. And there actually are gold expeditions here now. I think even the History Channel has a show on like hunting for gold. But Tells of the telegraph line. Down there is the Ganunda, something like that, river. See it running. I mean, obviously it's fed by glaciers, and it'll run off, and it will have a salmon run. And obviously in September, the bears will be swarming the river because the salmon will be coming up it. But it talks about the telegraph lines. That they originally laid a telegraph line, the military laid a telegraph line here down through the river in order to aid communication with some of its more northern and western outposts in the late 1800s. Well, what ended up happening is it was also started to be used for miners and people who were prospecting for gold. What ended up happening is that the gold rush was so furious here that the miners soon dwarfed the amount of communications that the military was sending, so the military had to set up its own dedicated telegraph line because so much of the business was being used and so much more profitable to inform people what was going on with the gold rush. Whew! So here I am, enjoying a well-deserved lunch. You can see those mountains in the foreground. Enjoying some nice Alaskan beef jerky. And to wash down, well, Gatorade. Sorry, sometimes it's just not that fancy. You can see Alaska has a lot of history of mainly people exploring it and whatnot. I mean, obviously the U.S. military has a vested interest in Alaska because it allows them to like fly over if they ever wanted to attack Russia. You just go right over the North Pole, and obviously the oil. So there's a whole lot of history of explorers coming through here and doing all these kind of things. And I would visit museums, and this is Alaska. Gotta love it.